Happy New Year, everyone. It's crazy. We're 25 years into the future of what was once the turn of the millennium. We just wrapped the fearless year of Shadow, but that doesn't mean the Sonic franchise is slowing down anytime soon. In fact, Sonic X Shadow Generations has been a universal hit since its release back in October. Heck, even IGN gave it a 9 out of 10, and they hate Sonic.
Sonic was never good.
Yeah. Why would you say that?
Fix it.
Why would you say that?
But the question has to be asked, what do the Sonic games need to do for the future of the franchise? Let's discuss.
Here we go!
My first suggestion to Sonic Team would be to learn from their mistakes. But Prowler, you just said the latest game was a hit. What mistakes could you be talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked, imaginary viewer voice. I'm specifically talking about two things, story and gameplay. Let's talk story first. Sonic has had quite the glow up over the last few years compared to almost the entire decade prior. A big contributing factor to that is the success of the movies as well as generally positive receptions of Sonic X Shadow Generations and Sonic Frontiers. One thing all of these have in common is the more serious tone of story. The movies obviously lean more into the slapstick comedy at times with the presence of Jim Carrey, but the story, especially in the third movie, dealt with the darker undertone of the game it was based on. Meanwhile, Frontiers was absolutely one of the more mature games in recent memory compared to the likes of Sonic Forces and Sonic Lost World, but none of those hold a candle to the likes of Shadow Story and Shadow Generations, ripping open the old wounds of reuniting with Maria and Gerald before their demise in the franchise's natural timeline, which is even more jarring when you compare the exciting and lighthearted romp through time and space the Sonics had during their generation's adventure. Sonic Team needs to realize that even though Sonic is still a family-friendly franchise, they can still pull off mature storylines and raise the stakes for our favorite Blue Hedgehog. In fact, I'm willing to bet it's what the majority of the fan base is looking for in new or future Sonic games going forward.
Baldy nose hair! That's the best thing I've heard all day!
Hilarious. Let's spin dash over to the gameplay side of our discussion for the video. This is probably the most divisive aspect that gets Sonic fans up in arms. Going back as far to the transition from the 2D games to the 3D adventures, Sonic Team struggles to really nail the formula that would equal sustained success. You know, kind of like those Nintendo guys who have hit home run after home run with everyone's favorite Italian plumber. Honestly though, I personally love the old school speed levels of the adventure days on Dreamcast, but I know others that only swear by the boost levels of Unleashed. Does this mean one side is more correct than the other? Absolutely not. But what it does mean is that Sonic Team needs to learn when to stay the course and when to change it up. For example, I don't see any fans clamoring for gameplay similar to Sonic 06 or Lost World again, but I think the developers can integrate pieces from the latest releases to really rock future games. The open world components of Frontiers was a really innovative change for Sonic, but almost everyone I know had disappointments when it came to the cyberspace levels. Meanwhile, Shadow Generations had some of the best level design we've seen, well, in generations. This is critical for Sonic Team to realize these things because everyone knows the massive step backwards the franchise took between the original Generations and Sonic Forces. Fans won't be willing to overlook such disasters like that again, considering Shadow Generations really captured the best 3D and 2D levels we've possibly ever gotten in the franchise. So don't this up anymore, okay guys?
Take it easy, psycho.
Now, I don't want this to come off as misconstrued where Sonic Team can't or shouldn't take any more risks going forward. I'm all about innovation and want to see boundaries pushed or new mechanics introduced. It wasn't perfect, but the different fighting combos you could pull off in Frontiers was a fresh aesthetic compared to the tried and true instant kill homing attack we're all accustomed to by now. And I even see some fans say they don't mind the Werehog levels from Unleashed. Those levels still aren't my cup of tea, but again, I can't and won't ever fault Sonic Team for at least experimenting with something new.
I love it!
So at this point, you have to be thinking to yourself, so Prowler just wants dark and moody storylines while also keeping similar gameplay, but also changing things up? Am I getting all of this right? Well, yes, but also no. Sonic the Hedgehog is as popular as he is for a reason, and if you're a fan, I'm sure you have a very specific game or moment that hooked you into the franchise. My plea to Sega and Sonic Team is to utilize the tools that have been applauded by us fans. We love tight controls and fun levels to explore through different pathways. We love stories that actually provide depth to characters and raise the stakes with meaningful consequences. And we love Shadow and his origin for a reason. Yeah, even you crazies that cheer for Maria's death every chance you get. Future Sonic games need to prioritize gameplay to be the best that it can be while also giving us the best story they can possibly provide. Simple enough, right? Right. Oh, and before I forget, no more nostalgia trips. I played Green Hill Zone enough times over to last me multiple lifetimes. Make new levels already, but don't you dare change the music direction. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta go roll around at the speed of sound. Thanks for watching till the end. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to tell me what you think Sonic games need to do for the future in the comments below, let them rip. See you next time.